Are you following Super Rugby Pacific? Stick around, I'll share my insights for round 10 Anzac Weekend. Hey everyone, it's Coach H here, and you've found Inspired by Union, a channel where I discuss Southern Hemisphere rugby. Let's dive right in. Greetings, Rugby Universe. Well, Super Rugby Pacific round 10 action done and dusted. I'm going to dive deep with insights on the Crusaders versus the Rebels, and I'll touch on the other results over the weekend as well. The Crusaders versus the Rebels. There's life in the wounded glamour franchise yet, and a win with 5 rounds to go gives them hope. By no means were the Satyrs the finished article. They can thank the Rebels, who turned up like a side on vacation. The home side's front row really did a number, and Newell and Bauer can take a bow. They set a platform for a rejigged back row, and Leo Willie looked something special, bringing his power game harking back to the power 8s of yesteryear in Cribb and Tuialii. The Rebels will rue a poor showing on the road, and Coach Foote dragged his entire front row in the 30-minute mark. The Satyrs left plenty of opportunities amiss as they racked up a score in the second half, 39-0 to the home side. Waratahs versus the Chiefs. The Tars put together perhaps the best 30 minutes of the season, but then took the foot off the throat and allowed the Kiwi side back into the game. Both packs really rolled up to their sleeves and got into their work, but it was the Chiefs that were more productive, with Mackenzie and Narawa not needing a second invite to nail their opportunities. This was a really good game for a neutral to watch, but I suspect that New South Wales fans are sick of being the nearly man. Finau ironed out Ed Med early and is building a reputation as being a real hitman. England-bound Parisi was a real handful with ball in hand. He's going to be a huge loss as he moves north. The Chiefs took this game by 38-22. Fijian Ndrua versus Moana Pacifica. The Ndrua really showed their intent early, with a number of big shots on D and intent and purpose on their carry. Armstrong Ravula looked sharp on his return as he directed his players around the park by hand and by foot. The Ndrua built a handy lead into half-time, but Moana are made of sterner stuff as a team on the rise and really fought their way back into this contest. Ndrua hold 7th and Moana 9th respectively on the ladder after this one. Ndrua 24, Moana Pacifica 17. The Brumbies versus the Hurricanes. The Canes would have been hoping to face off against the timid Brumbies outfit that showed up at Eden Park a week before, yet the home side was full of intent and purpose on a glorious Canberra afternoon. It was nice to see Alan Ala'alata'a return from injury, and his teammates ensured they showed affection for the man post-game in their interviews. Tamati Tua enacted beast mode in the white number 12 jersey and was a real threat. His post-contact meters were excellent as he stayed in the fight. Numia, a prop on the rise, was industrious in a tireless performance in the Hurricanes number 1 jersey. The Canes dropped their first game for the year. Brumbies 27, Canes 19. Highlanders versus the Force. I really feel like I wasted 80 minutes of my life after witnessing what these teams turned up on Saturday afternoon. In fact, I'm guessing that Otago Boys under-14s versus Kings High School under-14s would put out a higher performed match with less errors. The game is doing it tough at the moment, and with NRL on the rise on both sides of the ditch, media deals on the horizon, these teams need to sort it out. There's probably a case for the national body to step in and stop the rot at the Southern franchise. The home side by 7-6, but I reckon both coaches would flush this vision down the dunny. Reds versus the Blues. What a game where really they probably didn't deserve to be a loser. Both packs were combative on the carry and in defence, whilst both backlines were creative in the shape of their attack. Tim Ryan announced himself with a hat-trick on debut, and the Junkyard Dog looks a real find for the Queenslanders. In a game of ups and downs where both sides had periods of dominance and then needed to weather the storm, it was the Blues' fresh legs and Clark and Knock that were the real difference at the end of this encounter. The Reds bench was sorely lacking in experience and game management nous by kicking away the ball at the death, yet the bravery to take the game on was what put them into the position for a draw in the first place. The Queenslanders are an enigma, pushing both first and second place on the ladder, yet dropping games to poor sides. Perhaps this will be a growth moment. Blues 41, Queensland Reds 34. If you're finding these insights helpful, consider pressing the subscribe button and hitting the bell for more insights every week. Well, we've been treated to some really good games across the weekend, but plenty to play out before we find out who's in the 8. An exciting 5 rounds ahead as teams really jostle for position. I'm Coach H, and you've been watching Inspired by Union.